Hello, friends from the comic world. My name is Hector,
And my name is G.
and we are here to talk to you about the new releases for December 2023. G and I work for Penguin Random House, and we manage sales into the direct market. So, books that we talk about in this video are going to be from publishers that we represented to those markets. Also note that we're on social media. Aside from the YouTube channel that you're watching us on, you can find us on Instagram, on X, Twitter, and also on Facebook under at PRH International Comics. Also, let me kind of explain a little bit how we're doing things. If you haven't seen these videos, we go through some picks. G and I pick our favorites for the month. We talk a little bit about them, and then we go and highlight a few titles for the months that we think you definitely need to check out. And then we show you the rest of the list, and we'll leave you to, you know, to browse through it. So definitely stay until the end. And also, we need to mention, with you know, production and delivery delays, there might be some titles that we repeat from previous months. So just know, that's the nature of the industry right now. So you will might see some titles that were repeated that have been pushed back. Okay. And without further ado, I think that's it. Let's go to the first pick for this month. And it's one of my picks. This is Macbeth, A Tale of Horror. This is written by Stefano Oscari and illustrated by Simone De Armini, these two Italian amazing artists, creators. And obviously, this is a Gothic adaptation of obviously, the Shakespearean Macbeth. Um, and I don't have to tell you the story of Macbeth, but I do have to mention that it is a very dark, bloody uh, sort of adaptation of it. Uh, that's why the subtitle for this is A Tale of Horror. Very beautiful art from Simone de Armini. I actually couldn't find any other English title for Stefano Ascari, so it might be the first time that Stefano does this in that we have a translation of his work. I definitely he's also an illustrator too, so and a graphic designer. So for both of them, I encourage you to look at their art online. They have tons of things that they've worked on, both of them. Like I said, for Stefano, mostly in Italian, but um, with Simone, you can find both Italian and some English titles too, all across different publishers, but definitely a few from Dark Horse. And I don't think there's more. Oh, I did want to mention, for example, for Simone Dermini, recently he did do some work for IDW also, for Spider King, for Star Wars Adventures. He done some work for Marvel, for Thor, for uh, Elektra, Black, White, and Blood. So, like I said, these two artists have been around for a long time and they've done a lot of work. So, I definitely think you should check out their other work, but also definitely pick this up. Um, it's, but beware, it is very bloody. You can find some of the interiors online, and it is very bloody and very gruesome. But it's a very cool adaptation of Macbeth. Next up.
Next up, we have Black Solstice. This is written by Martin Desmond Rowe and Trayvon Free. Both are pairing up with us with an incredible artist, Armo Massa. And this is a debut graphic novel, and those two, Martin and Trayvon, are Academy Award winners. And this actually to me reads like a movie in a way, just on the premise alone. I would love if that ever happens, I would totally watch it. That
Yeah.
or an animated, I would love either. So this one, on the night of the winter solstice, uh the world was caught by surprise here because all of a sudden every Black person in the world suddenly gained superhero powers that they did not possess before on the previous day. But then after the winter solstice, the next day, the power disappeared, almost as if it never existed before. So then we have another winter solstice that's about to approach. And people are wondering, is this a one-time fluke? Is it going to happen again? But then you have these group of siblings who are just convinced that this is going to happen again, that this is not a one-time thing. And they have an ultimate plan to use their powers, that they're confident that that will come back for the greater good, even if everyone else tries to stop them from doing what they believe in. And so this is such an interesting and cool premise. You don't want to miss out on something like this, and it will be out in December. So my pick for this month.
Yeah. Great. And my next pick is The Many Deaths of Barnaby James. This is written by Brian Nathanson and also by Neil Gibson and Brian Nathanson. And also the art is by Piotr Kowalski, with colors by Brad Simpson and letters by Saida Demofonte. And this is a very cool kind of horror fantasy, sci-fi story or fantasy supernatural story is what I should say. Um, the Basically the protagonist Barnaby James is a grave digger, and it's he there's this circus comes to town, this black top I should say comes to town, and the ringleader Aslan has the power to resurrect the dead, and he starts resurrecting the dead. And Barnaby wants him and begs him to resurrect the love of his life, of his former life, actually, Delilah. And but he says no, so he decides to steal Aslan's wand, which you see him run away with his wand in hand, um, and trying to resurrect her himself. But obviously, he is being followed by Aslan and undead, and the way obviously also Barnaby dies a few times and resurrects, and so you can see on the cover, I think he's getting his blown off by a shot. So it's a very interesting premise. It's very dark. There are some interiors and online that you will see, a very cool looking, colorful but dark, horror, suspense, and supernatural story. Also, like to mention that Pyotr Kowalski, I've talked several times about his art. He has done a lot of work with a lot of publishers all around, but most recently, you would recognize him because he did the interiors and covers for Where Monsters Lie from Dark Horse, which you talked about not so long ago. But he's also artist in some of the Witcher books, um, and all the eight eyes from Dark Horse also. So it's a very well-known artist, and their art definitely is very beautiful. He doesn't disappoint on this one for sure. And that's The Many Deaths of Barnaby James.
Okay, this one made me like,
Yeah.
when I read the premise, I'm like, if you've ever encountered a cat before and they stare at you as if they're plotting something, this is where like you kind of get that sense, right? With this story, it's about a young girl who has a black cat and suspects that this beast of a cat is behind all of the problems that are happening, like
Hmm.
her parents fighting, family issues, supernatural troubles. It has to be the cat. The cat has to be behind all of this. As she tries to rid herself of this creature, of this cat, but she discovers that maybe the cat is not evil after all, and that maybe there is a greater terror behind these horrific events. Maybe it's not just the cat. So this collects Hairball issues number 1 to 4 in a this deluxe hardcover, which is really cool. There's a die cut
Yeah.
format where you could like see the eyes peeking through underneath the hardcover that's like beaming out. And this is from the imprint from Flux House Books, which is like a boutique imprint from Dark Horse, where it really focuses on the and features at the forefront the comics creator Matt Kent, who you'll see here, who's also writing Hairball, illustrated by Tyler and Hilary Jenkins for this title. So definitely check out Flux House Books because they really focus on like crime, sci-fi, horror, humor, those various different genres. But what's interesting about that links them all together, it's told and presented in like very untraditional, weird, startling like premises. Like this one in particular fits in that identity. So definitely check out that imprint because there's a lot of cool titles coming out of that as well. So wanted to point this out. Really cool
Yeah,
hardcover edition. Mhm.
very, very cool. And next up is John Romita's Amazing Spider-Man, the Daily Strips Artist Edition from IDW. Um, this year during the summer, we lost another legend in comic books, John Romita Sr., and it's just a perfect way to celebrate his life. He did so much for comic books, and a lot of people might not remember that, him and Stan Lee were doing comic strips in the newspapers on daily basis in 70s. And this collects over 300 or approximately 300 original daily strips that were published in newspapers between 1977 and 1978. Obviously, those are not all because if you do your math, 302 whole years. Obviously, it's not all of them, but it does include the entire first 2 months from January 3rd, 1977, and the next 2 months completely daily. So it'd be really, really cool to get those stories and get those whole arcs. And for a little bit older people that like me who used to read strips, comic strips, and newspapers, I had to every day continue the story and have the whole arc divided between a lot of days. This is very cool to see into one volume. Very beautiful volume from IDW's artist editions, which are great, and I'm sure all of you know. So this is obviously celebrating. Also, it was already originally planned for the 60th anniversary of The Amazing Spider-Man. Sadly, has become also sort of an homage for the passing of John Romita. But like I said, this is for collectors and fans in John Romita, such a beautiful way to sort of honor his memory, definitely. And Stan Lee's, which we also lost not so long ago. And that's it for that one. And I believe those are it for our picks. So now we're gonna go in. Oh, there's one more. You're on mute, by the way. You're on mute.
Sorry. Because I'm hearing stuff in the background. I apologize if you hear stuff. But really quickly, because I thought this was really cool, this is Tasty by Victoria Grace Elliott. This is a history of yummy experiments. I want to know this because I don't even know where a majority of these foods came from. So, like, the premise
Yeah.
here is how did cheese happen? Who pickled the first pickle? Explore the history of these innovative foods. So, like, if you've ever wondered where the origins are of your favorite foods and how they came to be, this is like the one for you. Like, was soda always meant to be a drink? What happened, like, with like again, the true stories of pickles. Like, this is really cool. I think it would be interesting. It's good to like involve kids in this, especially if you're trying to get them to cook and everything. So I thought this was a lot of fun and with incredible art as well. So yeah, I had to like include this into this as well. So
Very cool.
mhm.
And now
Uh,
we're done with the
yeah,
picks.
now we're done with the fix.
And we're gonna go into the highlight some of the other titles coming out in the month of December. First off, on this slide, you will see Batman Eternal Omnibus, the new edition. obviously by Scott Snyder. Then we have Batman Gotham After Midnight, the deluxe edition. This is by Steve Niles. And then we have Best of Godzilla, Volume 1, and various artists involved. And we continue with Daredevil Epic Collection, Last Rites, new printing of the Annocetti run. And then we continue with Dr. Mobius and Mr. Gurr. Um, and we actually, I think last month we talked about this one. So this one was delayed, but also a very cool addition to December.
Right, and then next up for our highlights, we have Doctor Strange by Mark Waid, Volume 1. And Hector talked about this before in one of our previous videos, so definitely check it out. This is for Gathered on Christmas Eve, which is like a collection of all these writers that tell these stories on Christmas, like the Christmas Eve tradition of telling these creepy stories. So really cool premise. We have The Great British Bump Off by John Allison. And then John Byron's X-Men Artist Edition, and then Loki, The Liars by Dan Waters.
Yes. And we continue more highlights. Mighty Marvel Masterworks, the Silver Surfer Volume 1, the Sentinel of the Spaceways. And you can see on the far left, you see the regular trade edition cover, and then we have a direct market only cover next to it. And then we continue with Monster Born, written by Steve Niles and Shannon Eric Denton. And we continue with Multiversity Harley Screws Up the DCU by Frank Thierry. And last in this slide is My Little Pony 40th Anniversary Celebration, the deluxe edition by various artists.
Being on Shelter for Lost Dreams, written and illustrated by Alfonso Font. We have Chip Zdarsky's Spider-Man Omnibus. We have the regular cover as well as the direct market cover, which is really cool. And then also by Chip Zdarsky, Spider-Man. Oh, wait, two.
Yeah,
I'm like, wait, there's more than one DM cover for this one, which happens.
yeah,
Also a cool cover with like the negative space of Spider-Man. That's really cool. It's like
yeah.
coming down, revealing the logo there. And then Spy versus Spy Omnibus, new edition by Antonio Pro Profiest?
Pro, yes.
Profiest?
Pro,
Sorry.
yes. Sure.
Sure.
Sorry, Antonio. Sorry. Okay, and then we continue with Star Wars Yoda. This is collecting the recently miniseries by Jodie Hauser. Then we have Storm Blowback by Anna Seti, and we have another one of the DC webtoon sort of digital comic conversions into print. Vixen, New York, NYC Volume 3. This is by Jasmine Walls. And then we have the John Justice Omnibus Volume 1 by Peter David. And we finish up this highlights with another DC webtoon in print, Satana and the Ripper Volume 2 by Sarah daily. And that is it for the highlights. Like we said, we're gonna leave you the rest of the video with the rest of the list. So please stick around so you can see what else is coming out in December. Thank you for so much for joining us. Please comment down below. Let us know what it is that you're excited about for in December. Also follow us on Instagram, on Twitter, X, and on Facebook under at PRH International Comics. So, and come back. We have more videos. We'll do these monthly for collected editions. We also have a manga one, and we also do FOC picks every week. So, hope you enjoyed them. Thank you so much. Bye.